So everyone in this room wants an edge. Better performance, better data, better tools, better results. But none of this matters if you're running from an identity that is working against you. You cannot build a high-performing life if you're running on a low safety mind. So I'm Karen Matar. I help women rebuild the habits, the nervous system, and the habits, nervous system that shape their discipline. So fitness changed my body, but mindset changed my life. So today I help women all over the world break the emotional patterns, rebuild consistency, and step into a version of themselves they trust. So I didn't grow up disciplined. I grew up in chaos. Food was my comfort, and validation was my safety. I wanted a better life for myself, but I didn't have the identity nor the direction to build it. So when I moved to Dubai in 2014, I rebuilt my identity from scratch, every part of my identity. Fitness gave me a structure, but mindset gave me a direction. So there was one moment that shaped everything in my life. It was when I was 13 and my parents broke apart. And I remember one day the house felt full and the next day it was complete silence. And I literally remember standing in my room and staring at the door and feeling like the ground under my identity completely cracked. When you lose the structure that you grow up with, you lose a version of yourself that lived inside it. So for years, I walked around with an identity built on survival, not self-respect. I filled the gaps with chaos, with food, and with people that confirmed that broken version of me. Because pain doesn't just hurt you. Pain, it teaches you who you think you are allowed to become. This is why I'm here today, because this moment became my blueprint until I rewired it. Identity is not who you think you are. Identity is who your past made you believe that you are. And nothing changes until you change the story. And I know how it feels to live in a story that is not yours because I lived in it for years. So people try to upgrade their life, to improve their life. How? By keeping the same identity that broke their life in the first place. They chase outcomes. They ignore identities. They think motivation is discipline, but motivation is not discipline. Discipline is identity. Your actions can never rise above the story you believe about yourself. So your brain, it wants evidence. When you live your life, your brain wants evidence that supports the story that you believe about yourself, right? We all want to think that we're living our truth. We don't want to live a lie. So your brain will find that evidence. So if you're someone who believes that you're inconsistent, you skip your workouts, for example, your brain will pull up stories in your life that prove that this story is true. Even if it's skipping your workouts, delaying it by 5 minutes, it's gonna hold on to that story and say, see, I told you, this is who we are. If you believe that you're an emotional eater, then your brain will send urges that matches this identity, this story. Because identity drives behavior, and your behavior drives your results. This is why a lot of people think that they are failing. They think, if I reach out to food as a coping mechanism, then I failed. Or if I'm not consistent, then I failed. No, they're not failing. They are just operating from an outdated identity that is no longer serving them, right? So their behavior is just being loyal to a past version of themselves. And this is where performance collapses, because your nervous system doesn't care about your goals. Your nervous system doesn't care if you want to be shredded, if you want to make money, if you want to be successful. It doesn't care. Your nervous system cares about one thing, which is safety. So if discipline feels unsafe to you, you will self-sabotage. If consistency feels like too much overwhelming, you're going to shut down. If success feels unfamiliar, you're going to pull back. Right? And it's not because you lack discipline that you do that. It's because you lack internal safety. And when you start building that internal safety, this is when performance gets better. So fitness is not just physical, by the way. Fitness is also identity training. I've been talking about identity here. Fitness is part of it. Why? Because every rep in the gym teaches your brain, I'm someone who follows through. I can do this. Every meal that you control teaches you that, oh, I keep my word. Right? So you're training your brain to believe that you got this. It's proof. And proof, what does it build? Proof builds identity. And identity builds consistency. And consistency builds results. So it all starts with the identity. And this is how you rewire your identity. So you're like, Karen, how do I rewire my identity? The first step is identifying your pattern. What is the pattern that you do that you don't like? Is it emotional eating, stress eating? Is it scrolling on Instagram till 2 a.m.? Is it smoking? What is it that you don't like doing? Is it inconsistency? So 1, identify. 2, interrupt the pattern. 3, replace the pattern. But most people, what do? They try to fix the pattern, the habits, without interrupting the emotional patterns behind these habits. So this is why nothing sticks, and the loop repeats again and again and again, and they live in the same story again and again and again. Imagine you're someone who wants to get fit, and every night at 8 p.m., you walk towards the fridge. You want to get fit, you're walking towards the fridge every night at 8 p.m. Why? This is not hunger. This is identity. The trigger is the stress. You had a long day at work. Stressful, right? This is the trigger. The behavior is walking towards the fridge, and the reward is comfort, because food gives us comfort, right? So people, what they try to do is fix the behavior. Eat something else. Distract yourself. Drink water. But it never sticks. Why? Because if the identity underneath this behavior says that I'm someone who loses control at night, then the loop is going to repeat itself again and again. But when you work with identity, everything changes. The trigger stays the same. It's stress. But the behavior becomes a walk, a reset, a relocation, and the reward becomes the feeling of feeling proud because you kept your word. But what's the difference here? The difference is that the behavior didn't change because of willpower. You didn't force things. It changed because your identity changed. And this is a game changer. So let's do something together very quick. It's going to take 5 seconds, okay? I want you to close your eyes and think about a pattern that you hate, whether it's stress eating, whatever it is. Close your eyes, think about it. Make it very visual in your head, okay? What is it? Is it scrolling? Is it emotional eating? What is it that you want to change or you're not able to change? You got it? Good. Then I want you to open your eyes. I want you to first stand tall. Yeah, you can stand. I thought sit tall, but stand tall. That's good. And then take your right hand and place it on your chest. Good. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale all the air out. Good. Now release. This was a pattern interrupt. You change your posture. You change your breath. You change your state. You can sit down. When you change your state, you change your identity. When you change your identity, you reclaim your behavior. So I want you, when you go back home to your real life right now, to remember this. And every time you run through the old loop again, the old loop is trying to pull you back, interrupt the pattern. Interrupt it. Not once, every single time the loop pulls you back, you interrupt it. Because repetition is the mother of skills. The same way you trained your mind to have this identity that you have today, because of course there are some patterns that you want to change, the same way you're going to unlearn everything and anchor in a new identity that you are proud of. So use it when you go back home. Because your brain, it prefers familiar pain to unfamiliar growth. Your brain prefers familiar pain to unfamiliar growth. That's why people repeat patterns they hate, not because they lack discipline, but because their identity never held success before in this way. So it's like, so rewrite your identity, and every behavior that felt impossible will feel natural. Thank you. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer. If not, yes?
Hi.
Hi.
So you explained about the repetitive patterns and negative mind. How did you overcome in your initial days? By following a pattern or timetable, how did you achieve this? I just wanted to know.
How did I achieve this? So one of the things that I mentioned here, one of the ways that I achieved this is through fitness. Every rep you do at the gym trains your mind that this is, something you are capable of doing this. You can do this. Every meal you control, it teaches your mind that you keep your word. So fitness is not just physical, it's also an identity training. Now, of course, I applied this concept that I teach today in every part of my life, not only a fitness. But fitness is a great example of how you can actually train your mind to release the old patterns and replace them with new ones that are empowering, and new patterns that are in alignment with the person that you want to become in your life, with the vision that you have.
Quick question. Obviously, fitness is very much related to adulthood and those little bit older in there, from the late teens to 20s, and then obviously in the professional world. I was at the Sports Tech conference recently where a coach, successful coach in Europe, talked about the fact that kids age 6 or 7 can go into the actually fitness gyms these days and start earlier with their body weight first and later on, because there's been misconception that the kids, at a certain age, it's too early for them to go into the gym or to generally sort of be fit. Now, the question to you is very much related to the pattern that is developed early on in one's life that is then carried through the adulthood and later years. How do you intend to ensure that maybe what your methodology could also be applied to schools, and sort of trying to address the issue that could lead to all sorts of disastrous outcome? Suicide is the biggest risk factor and also killer of men under 50 in England. And mental health issues are very much related to the physical exercise. And having worked in sports and being an athlete, I often talk about that. So, long-winded question, but how do you intend to bring this to early ages rather than maybe to deal with the patients that are a little bit more advanced and it's harder to get them to change the pattern?
Interesting question. So I work with women to start with, and I work with women who are in a stage in their life where they are willing to see their patterns so that they can change them. It would be a great idea to work with kids, because this is how you can actually make sure that these patterns are really ingrained. And this is not my expertise right there. My expertise is working with women who are in a stage of their life where they are ready to do the inner work and ready to see themselves as they are, the mirror, and change their patterns. But when it comes to kids, this is a whole other topic. And I do agree with you, it would be amazing, but this is not my area of expertise. Yeah. Any other questions?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Wait.
One?
Or author, or a book, a novel, an author, a writer, a philosopher, someone that you vouch for or by. Who would it be?
It's weird because I had the same question actually yesterday. Someone asked me, I'm like, is there a book, Karen? I'm like, no, there's no book, because for me, like, I got here because of all the experiences and the learnings, but now name popped up in my mind, and definitely I love Tony Robbins. I don't know, maybe you know who Tony Robbins is. Yeah. And yeah, I love him. He was one of my first mentors, and I've been to his UPW as well in Germany. He's great. So if you want to start somewhere to really condition your mind for success, then Tony Robbins is your guy.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you say to people or women or men or whoever who don't like to go to the gym? Like, it's not their interest, but they would like to explore something else maybe.
Yeah. So this is a great question because, in the beginning, I used to not understand why do people don't like to go to the gym? How? But this is the reality of things. And the good news is that this is something you can rewire. So if you don't like to go to the gym, you can actually become someone who likes going to the gym by changing the association that you have for working out. Because a lot of people who don't like to go to the gym, the association that they have to working out is pain. It's, suffering. It's, I'm going to feel like they're going to judge me. I don't know what to do, and all of these things. But if they actually rewire their mindset and they start changing the association to going to the gym, then they're going to start seeing the good part of it. Oh, I'm getting stronger. I actually feel confident. Oh, actually, I can do this. Like step by step rewiring it. The same you rewired yourself, your brain, not to like the gym. You can rewire it to start liking it by changing the association.
Can I ask?
You want to say how many questions?
And what if someone is just starting? Like, what would you say is their first step? Like, would you say walk more, or would you say start walking?
Yeah.
Where can they just give them that starting point?
To be honest, definitely I would say you start walking. You start doing things you enjoy in terms of activity. It doesn't have to doesn't have to be going to the gym to do some weight training, because this is what I love doing and this is what I recommend my clients. It can be something you enjoy doing, body weight even, and then you start seeing results. You start seeing how it affects your mood, how it affects, your life, how your sleep, etc. And then slowly, bit by bit, you start incorporating other things. You make it a bit more challenging for yourself. So you don't have to go from 0 to 100 real quick. Step by step, it compounds at the end. You look back one day, you're like, oh my God, I used to be that person and now I'm this person.
So I have a question. Before to come here in Dubai, I had a very active life, doing gym 4 times per week and running. Normally, before to come here, I run in semi-marathon and mountain trailing. I had a very good fitness condition correlated with HR variability. You know about the Garmin. since I came here, I have a, let's say, very stressful job. I try to maintain the same fitness level, but my system nervous almost crash. Now I changed my job and I try to come back with a nervous system, let's say, value in the top how I was before. How should I proceed to come back? Not quickly, because I know that it takes time.
Yeah. So you said something very important, that you know that it's your nervous system, because when your nervous system feels unsafe and it's like collapsing, you need to actually regulate it, right? And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I regulate my nervous system first and then I start moving. No, it goes hand in hand, the body and the mind. So I would, if I were you, I would reach for support. I would work with someone who would understand nervous system and how to regulate it. And at the same time, I would start incorporating movement with it so that you get better with both together, not like doing one thing and then the other. It just has to be gradual, working with the body and with the mind. Yeah.
7 times per week, running and fitness, but I don't have. I feel that I don't have the same results. For example, I lose some weight after that because I was very stressful. I started to take again from 6-pack. Now I have a small piece of belly.
Yeah. So again, it's not about you're saying it right, because it's about the root cause, and the root cause is the stress. So I would tackle the stress rather than just doing more without tackling the root cause, because if you keep on stressing, then it's gonna dysregulate your nervous system even more. But if you work on the stress, managing it, then when you do the running and all of that, you will see results, and you won't get stuck in a loop where, oh, I get results, oh, I fail, oh, I get results. No, it's going to be like steady results.
Could I just say one thing to your point? So I'm a great believer that we as individuals need to devise our own regime and our own system. To your point, I used to get up at 4:45 a.m. So I was a part of the 5 a.m. club until the start of this year. Then I changed that to the 3 a.m. club. So today I get up at 3 a.m., which is the middle of the night wherever you go. And I spend the first 2 hours of reading, meditating, consolidating my thoughts. The next 2 hours on actually basketball court, outdoor gym and running. And I get back to the house, and by 8 o'clock, 8:30, I go to work. No devices, no notifications on the phone. And then now before bed, which is normally 9 or 10, I also switch off from any devices and so clear the head. So to the point of stress, I mean, I live in London, I run multiple businesses, I travel all the time. I had to devise my own system of spending probably 5 to 6 hours a day on myself, and then the rest of the time giving it to the work, to the family, to all the other responsibilities. Because we are very fragile. I mean, to your point now, on the 6-pack, on the fitness and everything else, I was fittest when I was 17. I'm 1 kilo away from that weight and probably that mental strength and stamina I had when I was 3 times younger than I am today at 51. So patterns have been hugely important for me to break, because I had to break all these patterns that you talked about by religiously turning up and fighting the demons of the devil and the angel in your head on every single day in order to actually address them, to win the battle, which ultimately you didn't know what battle you're winning. You're winning the battle of life and death, or you're winning the battle of the next big deal, or whatever it is that actually comes up with that. So you've just got to keep on figuring out what it is that works for you, and obviously apply some of the methodology we heard today to actually help you address that.
Yeah, I do believe that each person is different, definitely. What works for him wouldn't work for me. What works for me doesn't work for you. So this is where nervous system, because we have different nervous systems, right? So it's about just increasing your capacity of being able to hold more every day, like he did. And you're going to find your way. If there's a will, there's a way, for sure. Another question.
Just for response to the dieting that you talked about, I used to be a ski jumper, so losing weight was very important. And in our team, everybody had a different diet because everybody responds differently how to lose weight. Because if you choose one diet to give it to everybody, you will lose weight, but you will stop doing the diet because 80% maybe hate that type of dieting. So you have to find a diet that works for you so that it could be consistent, as you talked about.
Yeah, and especially this is important, for women because they have hormones, and each woman has a different hormone, like her hormones is working differently. So when they are dieting, they have to take into consideration their cortisol, their everything, so that, because otherwise they would reach a metabolic adaptation. This is what you were referring to. When you reach a plateau and you're not losing weight anymore, it's because your system has adapted to lower calories. So then your system, it holds on to fat instead of releasing the fat, because it's in survival mode technically. When you barely feed it food, nutrition, then it's gonna hold on to the fat. And this is especially right for women. And now that you're saying that you've seen even men in the same situation, that confirms even more the theory. But of course, not all diets work for everyone. But I do think that, in my opinion, the most sustainable diet is a flexible dieting approach. I don't believe in intermittent fasting. I don't believe in keto diet. I don't believe in carnivore diets. I don't believe in all these diets. The diet that I work with is, you eat carbs. We love carbs. I give my clients so much carbs. Fat, carb, protein, and you eat whatever you want as long as you hit your targets. So that way you can lose weight and keep it off for good.
We'd love to take all your questions, but we have to wrap up and give the final goodbye notice to everyone who's coming. Karen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been amazing.